To doubt is to let the lies of the enemy into your heart. To fear is to succumb to your own end. Words I was taught often when I was but a novice priest. A time which seems very, very long ago. Yet it is foolish to claim that none feel the tinge of fear or the shadow of doubt when faced with such horrors as the arch-enemy can manifest. The point is to defy them anyway. This place is testing us all, testing us to see if we are worthy to proceed, yet these tests are not from Sigmar. No, certainly not. They are laid by our enemy to humiliate us in defeat. But the hammer cannot be destroyed by such things. Contained, perhaps, but not destroyed. They know that when we claim it, victory will ultimately be ours, so I will conquer my fear and wield the power of Sigmar with all my heart. I've dreamt of this moment, wielding the powers of Sigmar on the lakes of the dead and the damned. Yet, in those dreams, I was never actually leading. I was always following. I can hardly believe it. But perhaps these three truly had been chosen by Sigmar, despite so many things about them being infuriating and making no sense. But maybe that's the point. Maybe I was always simply meant to follow. I know not if I will see this journey to its end, but even in death I will not fail Sigmar. I will fulfill my role, no matter what. This is Red Moon Roleplay. The moment of respite is short. There is no time to build a camp on this chaos-damned shore. And whilst everyone has had some of their wounds tended to, you are aware, Siegfrieda, that your supplies are running out quickly. You don't have enough to keep patching everyone up. They will run out eventually. Still, the knights are solemn and ready to go. The priests also ready to depart. And the three of you once again are at the vanguard. As you have, it seems, two choices. Once again, two tunnels seem to await where you've landed. One left, one right. What do you do?
I sigh. Any visions this time? I mutter to my companions about smog and glowing lights.
Well, that was helpful last time. I say, is there a way for me to scout on ahead and have a look somehow, or...?
Of course. Much like last time, the tunnels almost seem identical, at least at this point. And as you go forward, you suddenly feel a chill on the air, as you hear a voice. And it becomes very evident, simply by looking around, that everyone can hear this voice, including you, Siegfrieda, and Heinrich. The voice is scratchy, but loud. It seems to fill the entire cavern. Are you not enjoying the wonders of my realm, heroes of Middenheim? Is the choice before you too difficult for your mortal minds to comprehend? Instead of two paths, would you prefer 900?
Who are you?
I am the ruler of this domain, and you are my amusements, my playthings. Here only at the whims of my master and my own.
Who is it that you serve, then?
The great architect, the changer of ways, ruler of fate, knower of all that is unknown, seer of the past, present, and future, gazer into the well of eternity, and soon to be true master of your pathetic empire.
Does your master have a name?
I have told you its name. If you wish to know more, seek it, with your own skill and knowledge and wisdom. But you are but mortal, and lacking in all three.
Yes, we are but mortal. But we will get what we came for. You will not be able to stop us.
We shall see, mortal. We shall see. Come and witness the myriad of wonders I have in store for thee. Come and be ground to dust and bone and gristle, for you are but maggots writhing in the soil of a dead and cold world that will soon be ours. Your god will not save you.
I think you're wrong.
There's a little bit of here, and in the name of Sigmar from some of the others. What about you, Heinrich and Siegfrieda? You can hear this voice too.
Well, I've made my opinion about treating with demons perfectly clear at this point. And once he is done having his discussion with Kruger, I'm more than happy to draw my blade, looking around, assuming we're being stalked as always.
No. On the contrary, no roll needed. There is nothing here. This voice comes from everywhere. And yet there is no one actually present.
You may say that, and I may know that, but there is no universe in which Heinrich believes that or is willing to let his guard down.
That is true. And what of you, Siegfrieda? One thing's for sure, no roll needed. This is not a voice you've heard before. There's something different about its cadence and tone, something older, something deeper in the ground itself. This is not, you don't think, your dream tormentor or any lesser creature. You almost feel for a moment as if you know exactly who it is, somewhere on the tip of your tongue, at the back of your mind.
I grimace. I don't need another brain itch. I'm not going to listen to this voice any more than I have to, other than to say to my companions and anyone else around to hear, if the rest of our entourage are able to perceive it. Whoever, whatever that is that's speaking, is scared of us. This is why these things keep speaking out into the silence, breaking into the darkness to mock us, to goad us. It's because these things know we are getting closer and they are trying to scare us away. They want us to give up, because they know that if we get close enough to them, we will be able to end them.
Are you sure, mortal Siegfrieda? Are you sure it is not you who are scared? Terrified of what lies beyond, terrified of the limits of your own knowledge, terrified that the others will discover your secrets and judge you for heresy. At this, a few people look in your direction, especially the priest captain, Siegfrieda. You are aware that everybody is hearing this voice.
Of course I'm scared, I say, folding my arms. I would be utterly foolish to not be terrified in a place like this. But that doesn't remove the fact that you, your master, your companions, the monsters down here are scared of us. And how far we've come already. When so few other mortals, humans, dwarves have made it this far.
At that, Quintus Fassbinder steps to your side and raises his walking staff in the air. Listen to Lady Wittgenstein. She is right. Back, foul demon. We will brook no longer with your words of lies and heresy and treachery. We are here on behalf of Sigmar, and we will claim what is rightfully ours. And there is a bit of a cheer, perhaps tired from everyone else around you, chanting the names of you and Heinrich and even Kruger. The heroes of Middenheim, they say. The heroes of Middenheim. At that, the voice simply laughs, a deep, booming laugh, and falls silent. And there you are, Kruger, ready to inspect your 2 tunnels. Would you like to make a perception roll? Or say anything else before going forwards?
I didn't like the sound of that. But, well, whatever that thing is, it's not going to be able to stop us. I think it's growing desperate. And I begin looking at both of these passages, trying to identify if there's one of them that, well, is more likely to lead us to where it is that we need to go than the other.
Roll a perception check.
That is a 67 under 68.
You look to the tunnel to the left. There, once again, there's a reddish glow. This time, though, less gold and more straight-up red. You also can feel intense heat coming from that direction. The other direction is darker, but as you lift your torch up, there is no mist this time. Instead, your torch flickers ever so slightly, as if there is a light breeze coming from this darker tunnel. So one tunnel seems to lead to heat, and the other a light breeze.
Wind or fire? There's a light breeze coming from this dark tunnel, and there's heat coming from the other. Didn't we hear something about that?
Yes, fire and air. Well, it would feel like, or wind, it would feel naturally foolish for anyone to embrace fire when we could take wind. I'm sure that whichever one we choose will be destructive, but what can survive within fire?
You're right. I look to Heinrich.
I'm inclined to agree.
Well then, wind it is. I'll begin leading the way, and I'll motion to our followers as well. This way.
Everybody nods, picks up their gear, their weaponry, and begins to follow behind your vanguard as you head down the right tunnel. It's dark here, but this time your torches do illuminate at least a little of the path forward. This time the walls of the tunnel eventually start to become smoother and smoother, as if something has eroded them over time. The stone is a strange colour as well, a strange reddish blue. Still, eventually you see the tunnel is leading somewhere, as the breeze begins to pick up, becoming a soft gale. Nothing you can't handle though, surely. Up ahead, the cavern then opens up, and you walk forwards, revealing another great cavernous chamber. Here there are great stone pillars, smooth, going upwards as far as the light can be seen. The ground, again, is smooth, almost a little slippery. As the gale just slowly blows through here, you can hear it, whistling in what you assume must be some parts of the cave you can't see with your torch. All your torches now are flickering heavily, and everyone's cloaks and travelling gear is moving a little in this quite heavy breeze. What do the three of you do as you lead the vanguard? Erica looks a little concerned and starts barking at the air.
And at that I'm not surprised. Is there anything to see here, other than what we can feel? Does the ground slope away? Does it open out? Is there a chasm?
It seems to not be that featured for quite some time. Obviously, you have this weird feeling that there is an exit up ahead. You're not sure how you know that, but you just feel that eventually there will be a way out of here. There must be. But otherwise, no, it seems quite featureless. Everything looks the same to the left of you, to the right. Just these large stone smooth pillars and an empty, smooth cavern, and this growing sound of whistling wind.
What torment awaits in here for us? Speak up if you have any balls.
Your own voice echoes back to you as what you've just said seems to echo around this cavern. For a moment there is a bit of a pause from everyone behind you, and then the sound of the gale becomes louder and louder, and a sudden gust of wind erupts from all around you. Could everybody please make an athletics check?
That's no from me, 72, above 45.
I'll use a point of fortune. I also failed.
I used my fortune, but I still failed.
Me too.
I got a 57 over 32.
I got a 57 over 47.
Despite your best efforts, every single one of you is suddenly thrown to the ground by this wind and scattered. Not too far, thankfully, but at least a few feet from each other, your vanguard briefly separated as you all just fall to the ground. As you fall to the ground, Siegfried, after your statement, you look at it for a moment, and you suddenly notice it's no longer as smooth as you thought it was. Up this close, you see there are actually dozens and dozens of small holes. And as you are realizing this, from these holes erupt serpents. small, floating serpents. Each one a different type of serpent. You're slightly familiar with these things. You've heard of cobras and adders. All these different species of snakes suddenly erupt and fly out of the ground, their colours confusing, rainbow scales, hard to look at, unpleasant. And as you're taking this all in, you look and notice that they are attacking everyone. All of you are now surrounded by a swarm of flying serpents that begin to assault you. And unfortunately, you are all currently prone, which means your first turn in this first round can only be spent to stand up. Unless, of course, you spend a point of resolve.
I don't think I've ever spent my resolve, so damn it, I will spend it now.
I think it's just as well. I haven't used it up until now either, I think, so let's use it.
I have faith enough in my armor if the snakes are of a normal size.
They are of a tiny size, but they are also a swarm, which means they will be attacking everybody all at once. And they count as one foe despite that. Very well then, in that case, the fight begins. And as it begins, you are all aware, as you manage to spring up, Siegfrieda, and you as well, Kruger, that Heinrich is down, and the entire party as well are under assault, as the air has become filled with a literal storm of these flying snakes. There are thousands of them. It is your turn first, Kruger. Now, the good news is that shooting with a ranged weapon against such a foe is very easy to hit because there are hundreds of them. But the bad news is that your crossbow is not a close-range weapon, so that bonus, sadly, will be completely ignored. So I'm afraid you'll just be making a standard ranged weapon attack.
I studied the situation first and foremost. This is trying to kill all of these creatures truly the best way through this, or is it feasible for us to be able to, well, run away from the snakes? They are presumably not that fast.
The issue is they are currently attacking you right now. As you're thinking these thoughts, 20, 30 snakes are trying to bite you. You don't think you have a choice. You need to defend yourself.
I shall do that then. That is a 0-1.
That is good enough. Please add that to your damage and tell me how much damage you do.
6 degrees of success, 9 damage. That is 15 damage.
Then you fire your crossbow as best you can. Again, there's no time to aim. There's no time to even think about what you're doing. You just fire and fire at a snake just before it tries to burrow itself into your head. But you're doing it. They die. They do die. There's just so many of them. Siegfrieda, it is your turn. Erica is barking ferociously, trying her best to protect you. But you are going to perhaps need to protect yourself as well. What do you do?
Oh, I do not believe that chaos rules all. I am a firm believer that there is an order to everything in my own way, and so if there is a cave of fire and this is the cave of wind, I will do my level best to ensure my torch, doused with oil as it is set alight. I know that air spreads flames. Everyone! Douse your torches with oil and set light to these creatures, or alternatively, if you have the oil left in your canteens, set light to that. Drive them back with fire. We can create a wall of that element. I'm sure there is an order to this madness. And so that's what I will try.
Indeed, and because of that, you can make a base attack. 9 damage for this fire, which indeed is very effective against a swarm-like opponent. And you can have a plus 20. 10 for the idea, and 10, of course, for Erica backing you up.
Well, I do succeed. I managed to get a 14 out of an improved 46.
Then how much damage in total is that?
So that's 12 in total.
Excellent. You do as you say, quickly activating this chemical concoction to make a sudden massive gout of fire. Quite dangerous, but luckily you know where to aim it, and, well, you don't care too much about the well-being of these hideous snakes. They burn, they squeal, and being so tightly clustered is effective. You do quite a bit of damage. You also notice that the others are trying to do their best with their own torches. It does seem to be effective. This was a good idea. Heinrich, you, on the other hand, sadly, have still not even stood up yet. You feel these snakes pressing down upon you. I'm afraid the only thing you can do with your turn is stand. Is that what you will try and do?
Query, is it possible that I can wave my torch around without getting up? I'm happy to flail around on the ground and do that.
You certainly can try, but I feel sadly that would be at a -20, as it is difficult, but you can certainly try.
That is a 20, which is under a 23 with the modifier, so... yes, I imagine Heinrich, having fallen to the ground, will say prone, so on his stomach, and then rather than scramble to his feet, you can see him reaching out, pawing for the torch that was only just a moment ago in his hand. And then once I have it well in hand, I will roll onto my back, swirling the flame around, attempting to keep these tiny creatures from infesting my armor or worse.
Indeed. I think the basic torch will then only be 6 damage, plus your success level, so how much damage is that?
I would be just 6. I only barely made it.
And so, the swarm of snakes does begin to lessen. There are less of them. It's working, Siegfrieda. It's working. The fire, the flame is pushing them back. But there are still an awful lot, and it is impossible to escape completely unscathed. I'm afraid everyone is now going to be attacked once. You can, of course, oppose this, except you, Heinrich, because you are still prone.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, Kruger, would you like to oppose this attack by dodging or with your parry?
I think I would have to dodge. Crossbows are not particularly good for parrying with. 37 under 47.
Not good enough, I'm afraid, for they roll 2 degrees of success. And so you take 5, 6, 7 damage as you do your best to avoid the swarm, but aren't able to, and at least 3 or 4 of them begin biting hard into your armor.
And I scream.
I'd also like you to make an endurance roll at a -10.
It's a 0-3 under 42, so that's 4 degrees of success.
Then at least you are able to endure the pain. You try not to worry about what venom they might have on their fangs. There's no time to worry about that, no time. Siegfrieda, will you attempt to dodge or parry?
I'm going to attempt to dodge. I have nothing with which to parry. I'm guessing my flamethrower effect doesn't really give me much of an opportunity there.
No.
So I will attempt to dodge and completely fail. I rolled a rather catastrophic 88 above my 32. That is a critical failure. I think this is... I'm going to have to burn through another fortune as early as it is. I'd love to see what the result of a critical failure is, but we will... Oh, no! Okay, well, it's still 6 degrees of failure, because while I didn't get a critical one, I did roll a 98 this time, so I will take my lumps. What happens?
Yes, well, the good news is that's no longer a critical fail by the rules, it's just a bad failure. So you simply fail as normal. You are not able to dodge, despite your ring of fire. Some of them get through, some of them attack your legs, and Erica, bless her, is not able to fight them all off. In fact, she herself is trying to not get hurt as best she can, and so you are bitten. But luckily, it's only for 5 damage.
Ouch, that's a lot for me.
I'd also like you to make an endurance check at -10.
Another critical failure. I get a 66 above my reduced 35.
Indeed. One of them bites you in the neck, and you think it's okay, it's just a small bite, but you can feel it. There's something in the fangs. These things are venomous, and you have no idea what sort of venom. Is it normal snake venom? These don't look like normal snakes.
Oh, my mind racks with the sheer multitude of possible snake venoms and the sheer number of antidotes I have back at my surgery with which to treat things like this. I doubt I have that many with me, but we did bring medical supplies, so maybe one of the medics will be able to do it. We'll have to see. Right now, I've just got to curl into a ball and hope to weather the storm.
Indeed. And so, you take 2 corruption. as whatever this thing is worms its way into your heart and your lungs. But it's only one bite, just one, and your weapons are working. Surely you just need to hold out a little more. As for you, Heinrich, this attack is made with a +20. And it does hit you. But again, your armor is strong. You'll only be taking 6 points of damage.
The hit location will actually matter here.
It will. 63, that's 36, which means it would hit you in the
right arm.
Yes.
Well, that is... You said 6?
Yes.
So between armor and toughness bonus, I wouldn't take any damage, but I imagine that I will still be making an endurance roll.
Yes, you will. The bite goes straight into your arm guard, and you don't really think it's hurt you that much, but it does just touch your skin. You can feel the fang does touch your skin just a little.
Well, trading luck, because I've rolled a 33 as a critical success under my endurance of 58.
Very good. In that case, not only are you fine, but you are able to stir yourself to action and stand up. Due to your critical success, you're back on your feet. And as the second round begins, and also due to your critical success of the second round of combat, you go first. Heinrich, you are ready and armed. What do you do?
I am armed, and Siegfrieda had a wonderful idea. Although the torch is perhaps not as much fire as is appropriate to bring to this situation, I'm not getting anywhere killing 1 or 2 at a time. I feel perhaps this is a grenade-worthy moment.
Yes, it is.
So I would like to find, just by quick sight, the largest knot of these snakes, wherever the critical mass of the bulk seems to be, and hurl some of the finest explosives that dwarven hands can make into that tangle.
Yes, you certainly can. You get your bombs ready and throw them. I would like you to make an agility or thrown weapon check here, which I don't think you have, so I think it will be your base agility. But you can have yourself a +50, because you are certainly using this at point-blank range.
Well, I'm not saying it's impossible for me to fail, but the odds are definitely in my favor. Well, that's an 83, but it's under 92, so 1 degree of success.
Your aim isn't as good as it could be, but to be fair, you've just stood up and are surrounded by nightmarish snakes. But maybe you didn't need to aim that well, because at the end of the day, the explosions go off. And between that, and everyone rallying themselves around Siegfrieda's flame idea, in a few more seconds, the snakes fall, and they're gone. They're dead. The floor is littered with the corpses of about 300 burnt snakes. But it's over. It's over. You're alive, and looking around, it seems that no one else is that badly injured. Somehow. Well, no, some people have been hurt, but no one died. Between Siegfrieda and your plan, you have survived this swarm.
Oh. I can't believe all those snakes.
Having second thoughts about maybe the fire.
Yeah, having fire here would have certainly been useful. Well, good thinking. I look to the both of you. I suppose we made it through this somehow.
I am clutching my throat and staggering. It isn't just my wound. My eyes are pinpricks right now. While it isn't necessarily obvious, my corruption is at a very, very dire level. I am staggering in the direction of Leah and probably can't speak much but gesture at the remains of the snakes pointing at my throat. Is Leah still around? Did she survive?
Leah staggers towards you. She looks a bit dishevelled and is also nursing a bite of her own, but she looks to you and starts to panic. My lady, right, anti-venom, don't you worry, my lady, I've got you.
I fix her with a pointed finger that says, "Don't you dare fucking panic."
And as she watches your stern expression, she just nods and quickly applies a salve of anti-venom. It's quite standard, but it should help, right? The stinging sensation in your neck does ease, but no. No, you can feel it in your heart. Something is wrong, and you don't know if there's any salve that can help it. You begin to wonder to yourself suddenly, was that your fault? Did you cause this scene? You taunted these beings, these cowardly demons, and they struck you. They struck you hard.
I close my eyes, I sit on the ground, I allow Leah to practice the medicine and hope that there's enough anti-venom left for her. Hope that she has treated herself already. I'm unfortunately already out of gear, given that I've already tended Kruger.
Yes. My lady, are you all right? This should help. I hope so. I don't know what species of beast these things were. I've never seen their like.
It's... I adjust my neck. The treatment is good and well and as best as it's going to be. Make sure you treat yourself.
She nods and looks into her satchel that's already becoming quite low. You notice Grunhilde and the other young medic, you don't know his name, are going around trying to apply their antivenoms to people as well. You're glad you brought them, but this is the end of your supply. Everyone seems staggered and tired, although Barrett suddenly does come to your side, Siegfrieda, as he leans down and says, "You're all right. That was good thinking. Fire for a swarm. Good thinking."
Good. Wonderful. I'm glad it worked.
You sure you're all right? The wound doesn't look that bad, but I'm no medic, and hopefully the antivenom will help you out.
I shake my head, although it hurts to do so. It's what's inside, not how the wound looks.
He just frowns, to which you hear one of the priests say, "Worry not, my lady. Have faith in Sigma, and any sickness will be purged from you. We must press on."
In that case, it just crosses my mind. It's like a pounding drum. Damn Sigma, damn Sigma. Over and over in my head like a drum beat. I'm not going to speak it. I'm looking at that idiot priest like he knows nothing. Damn Sigma. Damn Sigma. If he had any strength, any wisdom, this kind of place, these kinds of beings wouldn't exist and his servants would be worth a damn. But no. Just damn him. I just shake my head again at the priest. Neither thanking him nor agreeing with him.
Indeed. Kruger and Heinrich, would you like to make an intuition roll? Give yourself a +10, Kruger.
That's a 0.8 under 59. 5 degrees of success.
Significantly better than my result, which fails by about 30 points.
Heinrich, you need to press on. There's no time to dwell and worry about such things. You must move onwards, and maybe you already are. But you, Kruger, you look to Siegfrieda, and for the first time, maybe in a long time, you sense finally she's feeling how you feel. You can see it in her eyes. She's normally so confident, so sure, but now you see the same doubt that your own eyes have had. She is not doing well. She's haunted. She is losing it, just like you are.
I'll move up to her then. How are you? How are you doing, Siegfrieda?
At Kruger's face and voice, I affix a smile. I've been through worse. All of us have been through worse. That's what we need to remember here. Remember the bugs. Remember Wittgendorf.
How could I forget? Yes, we've seen and experienced much. And it leaves traces. It leaves doubt and despair.
What are a few hundred snakes, eh?
Well, quite a lot, as it turns out. You're not alone in feeling doubt. I feel it too. But we've gotten through everything, as you say, up until now. We'll get through this too. Just stick together.
You can play the role of healer, Kruger. You always know the best things to say.
I don't know. Come on, I say, and I take your hand.
I allow you to help me up, and rejoin Heinrich with Kruger.
And so your expedition continues on. Shaken, damaged, but onwards. Finally, Kruger, there is an exit to this wind-swept cave. Another tunnel. Down you go. The air becomes thick. Illumination dark, even with torchlight. After 10 or 20 more minutes of descending down one singular tunnel, you come to a large, dark cavern. But at the end of it, you swear, Heinrich, you can see a light. There is something lit at the very end of this cavern. But to the left and right of you is nothing but inky darkness. As you emerge, you hear this voice again. Well, little mortals, welcome to your final destination. The final road of the paths you have tread in your miserable lives. All possibilities have led you here. So come and take my prize, if you think you can. Heinrich, would you like to roll a perception check?
34 under 54, so 2 degrees of success.
Movement. To the left and to the right. Slow movement. In the darkness and the gloom, your eyes begin to adjust, even though you're pretty sure they shouldn't be able to adjust. Something is helping you see. Slobbering creatures. Shrieking demons. Things you can't even describe. There are dozens of them on the left, dozens on the right. They're just waiting. Waiting, it seems, for you.
I won't have to wait very long. The moment that I make the connection between these shadowy figures and something truly demonic and identifiable, I imagine it's going to be much easier to see them with the light of a pistol shot, illuminating the area. I'll shout a warning. To arms again! The tunnel still has tricks! And rather than point the direction of the enemy, I will shoot the direction of the enemy.
Indeed, no need to roll. Your bullet goes off, you hit something, and hear raucous laughter as they begin to advance upon you slowly. Dozens upon dozens upon dozens. Heinrich, what are you thinking? It's easy to see what awaits you very shortly. Battle. True battle. There is an army here, outnumbering you 10 to 1. You look behind you, and you realize that you're going to need to shout some sort of plan to this desperate group you have, because if you just run into melee, you will die. So what will you do?
Well, the crucial thing in a pitched melee such as this is to make sure that you have friends at your back. So if our column can collapse into some kind of formation, that seems the wisest course of action, right?
Yes, to get into some sort of formation. Now, the biggest thing here, you realize, will not be battle tactics, but morale. You look into the eyes of Baron Rainer Tobringer, Priest Captain Jocelyn. They are ready. But you notice the others, there is some tension. There is fear. And of course there is, because you are not united. You never have been. There has been division this entire time. And you realize very quickly, Heinrich, that division has to end now. You need to make a leadership role. You need to bring forth your people. Now, sadly, there are no bonuses to this role, because you have not truly befriended anybody in such a way. However, there are also no drawbacks, because you have maintained, through skin and teeth, a neutral stance. And so, this leadership role will simply be made at a standard difficulty.
I still have 4 resilience after having spent it in the last session. And it feels appropriately, Heinrich, that the correct thing to do here would be to give an incredibly rousing speech with a critical success. So I will spend my point of resilience to do so. And with a torch in one hand and a smoking pistol in the other, and as the formation begins to come together in this tunnel, I will roar out, I am Heinrich Schilf, the hero of Middenheim, born on a barge, but having wandered this great empire in service of Sigmar, and so help me by his name, I will not die here tonight, and with you beside me, neither will any of us.
With that, Baron Reiner raised his axe high. In the name of Ulrich and Middenheim, we stand strong! And Priest Captain Jocelyn looks you in the eye, Heinrich Schilf, and just nods. In the name of Sigmar, burn these vile demons and send them back to the void! And everyone moves forward, in formation, ready for battle. Siegfrieda, for a moment there is doubt in your heart. For a moment there is worry. You must make a willpower check. However, due to Heinrich's speech, give yourself a +20.
I'll use my last resilience to, rather than take that roll. I'm going to use my last resilience, bring myself down to 0, and I am going to go for a big fat 0-0 to get the best critical success I can get.
Certainly, a critical success. For that, you can heal 1 corruption. Tell us how, in this moment, you rally yourself, if only for a moment.
There's a resignation feeling that is deep within me. It's been within me now for months, maybe years. I've always been waiting for the other shoe to drop. The end has always just been waiting around the corner, and it felt like it was finally here. But I can't help but genuinely smile and feel energized when I hear Heinrich's voice. There's a pride in that. When I consider what an immature buck of a man he was when I first encountered him, and while I can take no credit for his growth, his maturity, he has become a leader, almost utterly outside of my knowing it. I didn't realize it, and now I can see him, and I can hear him, and I can feel pride in him, and I can actually believe in him, which is new. So, I don't have a weapon to hold above my head, not really. But I will crouch down, give Erica 1 long scratch along her back, and say, let's rip these monsters' throats out, Erica.
And Erica barks at you, full of defiance, as you ready yourself. Kruger Hoffman, how are you feeling? Siegfrieda seems to have been brought back to her senses. Everyone is cheering in victory, in bravery. The foes in front of you are insurmountable, but maybe something can be done. How are you feeling? What do you do?
It all comes down to this. I join in the cheering, and yes, I stand by my friends as we try to take on these impossible odds.
Why don't you roll an intuition check? Give yourself a +10.
That is a 29 under 69.
An excellent roll. One thing draws your attention. The light. The light. Is that the hammer? Is that the goal? It occurs to you, whatever happens next, maybe that is what you must do. You maybe can't defeat a whole army, but maybe you can reach the hammer, and maybe that is all you need to do.
Yes, that is what it said, right? To defeat the evil, we need to get a hold of the hammer. That was the answer. Is there a path for me to get to the hammer? Is there a way of clearing a path to it, or sneaking around to get it? Well, what would be possible here?
It is certainly not possible to sneak, but if your formation just keeps moving forwards, you might just make it. Momentum, forwards. Everyone must move forwards and focus on reaching that goal, rather than being bogged down in how many ever foes there are in the dark.
No. Then I'll point that out to everyone. And I'll just say, let's go forward, and let's not stop, not until we reach the weapon. Once we have that, these things will not be able to stand in our way.
Then, with that knowledge, Heinrich, you look ahead, and His plan makes sense. Kruger's plan makes sense. What do you say as you charge into battle?
Death or glory!
And so, the three of you charge. All of you charge. Charge into the dark as you meet the claws and talons and snarls of the demonic forces arrayed before you.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this final part of the series, we are tackling Empire in Ruins. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Ager Sonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, Mike Parker, Maciej, and Black Templar for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to our Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay bonus campaign, Rough Nights and Hard Days, as well as bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Call of Cthulhu there. On top of that, we also offer early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real. And even if they were, the Emperor has already dealt with that particular problem.